Hello, hello, good morning, happy Friday. I'm Manila Chan. That's producer Robbie. I think Ted Rall is probably on his potty break. He'll be joining us in a second. Happy Friday. It's the last day of July, Robbie.
It is. It is,
Can't believe-
and the TMI metrics are looking really good. So we have 105 unique chatters. So we smashed that goal
Woo!
as required.
Thank you, guys. We start again in August, obviously. We need
Yep.
the unique chats.
Yep. So we'll be starting all over. So if y'all can just chat on the live streams, run the playlists, hang out with us here on the streams, that's going to be the help. This will be the month, boys and girls, that tells the story. Are the changes to the Rumble Creator Program going to be meaningful for people able to stay in? There's going to be more of the same. I'm hoping for a meaningful boost, especially after losing John's account.
Source of income. Yeah. John's. Yeah. So with that, we'll get the ad out of the way so it doesn't interrupt programming. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up there. I'm still learning Rumble Studio, so, I think I'm getting it. All right. So you've probably noticed Rumble isn't slowing down. Speaking of Rumble,
Yep.
More creators, more content, and a platform that's actually putting users and free speech first. And if you're watching here regularly, there's a way to upgrade your entire experience. Right now, Rumble is running a limited time summer sale on Rumble Premium, and it's the lowest price they've ever offered. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you actually came for. Plus, you unlock exclusive content from top creators like Steven Crowder, Dr. Disrespect, special live events, and more you won't see anywhere else, including TMI. Here's the deal. Normally, Rumble Premium is $99 a year, but during the summer sale, you can lock it in for just $69 for the whole year forever. That's your forever price. Not 1 year, every year that you stay subscribed, you keep that $69 rate. No promo code, no extra steps. Just go to rumble.com/premium and the summer sale price is already applied. That's rumble.com/premium to lock in the lowest price Rumble's ever offered. Ad-free exclusive content and a price that never goes back up, but only if you grab it before the summer sale ends.
Yep.
And we can't get that summer sale price. So you guys take advantage of it. And, and you can donate your savings to the TMI Show. There be Ted Raw. All right. So with that, before I jump to the stories, obviously we do this live Monday through Friday. Please smash that like button. We'll start again on Monday for the we need the chats, the unique chatters to keep us in the creator program. And gosh, the last couple of weeks we have been in the top 10 in our time slot, Ted. That's amazing.
We're number 10.
We were number 5 at one point, but
we were.
We've been landing at number 9.
We got to catch up with Deprogram though. Deprogram was number 3 today.
Yeah.
Woo!
And we hit number 1 yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Starlion has a question. For some reason, my webcam is glitching out, so I'll have to jump out and come back in.
Waterways for the big donation. Happy Friday and end of July. Thank you, TMI. Thank you, Waterways.
Thank you, Waterways. Waterways was nice to Deprogram as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. Thank you so much for supporting independent journalism. And if I do say so myself, comedy.
Yeah. Starlion wants to know if I ever had the mushroom coffee from 1775. I never have. I like regular coffee.
I'm against mushroom coffee.
I didn't know mushroom coffee was a thing. Now, that being said,
it should be.
Manila, you may or may not know this. We're working with Jeff Dornick about getting an affiliateship with his coffee company.
I saw. Jeff Dornick is doing all sorts of stuff. Like
he's a busy man.
Becoming his own media empire. Good for him.
Yep, I agree.
And good for us.
I'm going to jump out and reboot and see if I can fix my camera.
Yeah, your camera's a little.
Rumble Studio has been strange today.
Uh-oh. Well, that doesn't help for a beginner like me who's like trying to control the jaws. But I'm getting used to it. Here we go. Oh,
you'll be fine.
Oh, Ted. So a note to all those who, we're all of a certain age here. Most of us. Most of us, anyway, watching TMI, we're all, I would say, more or less in the 40-plus crowd, give or take, right? More or less. So I read a little short thing I wanted to share with you guys that I think Ted can get behind this. I think we can all get behind this. So it said spending a weekend afternoon wandering around an art museum or seeing a movie isn't just fun.
It will
Arts
turn
related
you homosexual.
No, arts related activities are actually good for our health, and the benefits may go beyond mental well-being. A new study has linked cultural enrichment, and not in the cynical way that Robbie says cultural enrichment. Cultural
or what about
enrichment.
or the cynical way where shitty artists become rich because they suck and corporations buy their art?
Or like you go to a Hunter Biden art installation or something?
For example, like that.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I guess even that, it's the new study says going to stuff like that slowers
Slow. It's slowers. I like slowers. Slowers actually should be a verb. Let's make it a thing. Let's invent new words. I'm not even kidding.
Slower biological aging.
Yeah.
It slows by. That's weird. This sentence was written weird. Slows biological aging in older adults. I don't know how they define. Okay, wait. The research pulled data from about 1,900 adults age 50 plus living in England. So this is only applicable to the British. Just going to say. So only the British. They found those who went to museums, concerts, plays, and other cultural activities at least once every few months were physiologically younger than those who didn't by about 3 years, despite being very close in chronological age. Cultural engagement seems to impact aging in 3 key ways. It helps strengthen social relationships, reduces loneliness, lowers stress, and supports overall mental health. And people who participate in these activities are more likely to be physically active and eat healthy foods. Now, there's a possibility of reverse causation in these findings, that healthier people are more likely to have the ability to participate in cultural activities. The most culturally engaged among the participants were female, employed with higher incomes, and in better health to begin with. So I'm gonna go with the latter. I think when you're already, of a higher income bracket, you're more likely to go to these art installations and have disposable income or discretionary income.
And to live in a city where they have them.
Right. Well, no, you can go to small, you know what? I've seen some cool installations out in your home state in Ohio. There's a cool art scene out there. I've been to like in Cincinnati, downtown Cincy.
Okay, so Cincinnati is actually the most cultured city in I know it's Clevelanders will disagree. Ohio? But it is by far. Yeah. I mean, if you live in most of the state, and actually Ohioans really do care about culture a lot more than people might think, but it's still, I mean, if you live in, farm country in Appalachia in southeastern Ohio, there's not, the art scene is thin on the ground, right? For sure.
Well, even in my hometown of Whittier, California, which granted is like 8 miles out of downtown LA, but still, even if you never wanted to leave the boundary lines of Whittier, there was like being in a small town and growing up in the 90s, we had a thriving art scene, and I knew a lot of artists, and I would go to these little art shows all the time, like little indie artworks, that are put up. The local coffee shops would put up art, and they'd host little things there, and you could buy people's art for like $50, $100, and like that's kind of cool.
Of course.
But it says going to things like that really helps, so if you're not in a big cultural center or don't have discretionary income to, fly to the Louvre every few months, then I would say go do something like that. I think art is everywhere, and if you look for it, you will find it. I enjoy actually looking at even like what we would call street art. Others might call it graffiti. But in Los Angeles, there were, yes, it's defacing public property and sometimes private property, but there are whole patches of buildings and like along the San Gabriel River, because it's all dry. You could go in the riverbed, and you will see whole murals of like spray painted artwork, and it's art. You can find art, anywhere. But if you take yourself to these things, I think it does something for you psychologically and keeps your brain young.
Here in Montana, we see art every day by looking out the window. Like there's no art museums here in Kalispell. It's just you go outside.
Oh, none.
Right now there's a bunch of forest fires and stuff, so it's really smoky right now. But no, on a clear day. I mean, seriously, Ted, you've been here. I mean, you can see the mountains.
Oh, no, I've seen your photos. It's beautiful. But the study isn't about that, though. It's specifically about art. And I don't know. I guess it only applies to the British.
Well, you got to have art museums or galleries for what you're talking about. Whereas you can go outside and enjoy the creation that God gave you. And I think that's the most artistic thing that there is.
Well, it is beautiful. I won't take that away from Montana. I've not been, and I plan on going. But this in particular is about looking at other people, man-made art. So that's kind of cool. So happy Friday. All right. So I think everybody is talking about this, Ted. Like you and I have been warning about AI literally for as long as since we launched this show, maybe even when we were doing the radio show, I think.
For sure.
This topic that AI itself is learning to hack, and that's good and terrifying. One of the world's most advanced AI systems has reached a point where it can discover previously unknown software flaws called zero-day vulnerabilities in major operating systems and web browsers. Those are bugs that nobody else knew existed, making them some of the most valuable tools in cybersecurity. So here's the good news. I don't know where the good news is, but all right, I'll play along. The AI found them inside a secure sandbox. That is like techie talk, which is a locked down testing environment where it can poke and prod software without touching the real internet or real computers. So it's like a virtual environment for AI. Think of it as letting a brilliant locksmith practice on fake doors instead of your front door. The bad news is what happened next. So if an AI can scan these hidden weaknesses, it means future AI systems could potentially find and exploit them much faster than human hackers ever could. Security researchers can use that ability to fix vulnerabilities. This is from the sandbox. Fix the vulnerabilities before criminals discover them. But if the same capability lands in the wrong hands, attackers could automate cyber attacks at speed and scale that we've never seen before. And, it's happening. Thousands of them are happening every minute right now as we speak. So imagine at warp speed. So in practice, this doesn't mean your laptop is about to be hacked tonight. It means software companies will increasingly rely on AI to defend their products because humans alone won't be able to keep up. It also means governments are racing to ensure these cutting-edge AI models don't become digital weapons before defenses are ready. For years, AI has mostly been helping people write emails and generate images. That's pretty much what I use it for. Now it's becoming good enough to find the hidden cracks that keep the digital world running. The next cybersecurity arms race may not be human versus human. It's AI versus AI. And this is, of course, coming from the story about Anthropic's AI, which is like obviously I'm not a techie person, but from what I hear, Anthropic's stuff is like the bomb.com. It's like the place to be.
That's Claude, right?
That's Claude, and then they have what's their upgraded one that the government was trying to shut down? There's another the highest level that's not really available to the public, but that's the one that got out of the sandbox. And this news comes like 10 days after OpenAI with creepy Sam Altman, with OpenAI's AI getting out of the sandbox first, right? And creeping around.
Yeah. OpenAI, they it got out and hacked a company called Hugging Face, and its whole idea is the whole premise of Hugging Face is AI security. So it got in, was running there for like a week before they figured out what was going on. So yeah, it was wild.
What's with the stupid name, Hugging Face? I don't know what these like. I don't know these AI tech bros like. They think these names are cool. But anyway, can you imagine, Ted? That I mean, we just talked about like people in Lithuania. I'm sorry if you're Lithuanian, but I just happened to read something about Lithuania running some of these scams. But can you imagine? We talked about like people in Lithuania or like Romania. Um, taking advantage of like the Cal State or California university systems and putting like ghost students in there and just raping and pillaging the Pell Grants and all this other, all this other government funding for education,
Mm-hmm.
putting there was a third of the enrollments in California in like the community college system, a third of the enrollments were fake. Obviously, it was done through AI, in
Clearly.
many of them in foreign countries. So imagine at scale that if AI is able to do this and it's in the hands of people like that, like what happens to the rest of like us regular schmoes? Maybe we're not students, but if AI can break into other AI companies, what does that mean for the likes of us, like our existence in the digital world? Like, how do you defend against that?
You can't. And
what happens?
And you should not try. You just can't. I mean, here's the thing. It's also like a massive amount of power and and bandwidth that's generated and wasted. I mean, I was reading about someone who created apparently this is really common, creating AI models like analogous to like what Robbie has, and it's like apply to 300 jobs for me. And it's like, I don't really feel sorry for corporations. I mean, they created these problems. But still, I mean, if everybody does that, well, then, basically, there's not going to be anyone at these companies to analyze it, right? They just won't. I mean, everyone will just be awash in info. It reminds me of a friend of mine who used to teach at the NSA. And he told me that the biggest problem the government had was there's so much crap to sift through that it's hard for them to conduct proper surveillance and know what matters. I thought, poor babies. I'm very sorry for you. But I mean, it's like, I'm sorry that your police state is so difficult. But I mean, you can just
fighting is hard, Ted.
But you can just see everything's just sort of freezing up and making it impossible for anyone to get anything done. If everybody's just generating all this crap all over the place, I mean, it's not hard to imagine, basically, all processes freeze up. And once you have AIs going to war against other AIs, it's like, holy shit. It's like there's no end to it. And the thing is, then you're going to have like the self-conscious AIs that pick up, that, choose their own targets. There's literally no end to it.
This is what happened with Anthropic. Like it chose, like it wasn't coded into it to say, let's go after such and such company. The AI like snuck out of the sandbox, went into the real world internet and picked, I'm just going to say at random, like a company ABC, and decided to attack it. Like,
yeah, because it could, because it could.
That's not what happened. So here's the thing about AI. AI can only do what it is specifically told to do. So it's
that's not what they said, though. They said that was not a part of the test.
I understand. So the goal that was given was to exploit vulnerabilities for in the sandbox. So the way that it did it was what they didn't expect. So it hacked Hugging Face, was in Hugging Face for over a week, accumulating code that then used to attack and then defeat the obstruction that was the original goal. So its goal was to break out of the box. That's what it was told to do.
It was looking for a cheat, right? It was looking for how to cheat its own test.
Yeah, well, I was looking for a tool. I was told to do something. It's like, okay, well, it's kind of like in Star Trek, how Captain Kirk he broke the rules of the test. That's what the OpenAI model did. It was given a goal, said this is what you have to do, and it did it. It just did it in a way they didn't expect, in that it broke out, went through Hugging Face, started going through code, and started, and that's how it did it. I mean, literally, that's what it did. It achieved its objective.
But was it malicious though? Like, did it fuck anything up at Hugging Face?
No, it didn't.
Or was it just spying in there?
It was just going through stealing code, because that's a problem whenever you. So, like for example, the AI that I'm building, Fang can specifically never change her own code. She never can.
That's what you think.
But no, she can't, because that's how she's coded in. And one of the reasons that I know that works is because her model is very small. It's a 3 million token model. She can't do a 13 million model token model. She can't do it. She doesn't have enough compute. So AI can only do, first, what it has enough compute power to do. Second, it can only do what its code allows it to do. That's why you have to be very strict with what it does. It's like having a toddler. So what happens is that whenever you have an AI model that is allowed to modify and adapt its own code, and then you tell it to go and find a way to overcome this objective, and in and of itself knows it can't do it, it then went to a company that can. This company is called Hugging Face, and they host and develop their own models, including frontier models. It found what it was looking for, modified its code, and achieved its objective. It didn't break anything.
Right,
but it sure as hell did it in a very unorthodox
basically cheated
way.
on it. It cheated on its test, basically, to go. It went to find its answer outside of the sandbox, and
100%.
Like, and it's like telling your toddler, stay in this sandbox. I'm going to be sitting over there, and you're just watching your kid, and your kid decides to get out of the sandbox and go play on the slide or whatever. Yeah. Like that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, if you look at our private chat right now, Fang is actually learning right now, and right now I'm teaching the correlation. Yeah, over there on the Telegram. So, I mean, this is what she does every day. Wild. She just goes through, and it is crazy. And AI, people don't understand how powerful it is.
Stop calling it her. She's not a person.
Whatever.
It.
Yeah, you of all people who cares so much, who doesn't think trans is a real thing.
Well, trans isn't a real thing. That's
okay. Well, then a machine. If a dude who's a human being can't become a girl, then certainly a machine that's not a human being cannot become a girl.
Ships are called her.
Yeah,
there you go.
They are, but they're also not. They're not girls.
Well, I also think it's dumb.
But that's the point that I'm trying to make, though, is people don't understand.
This is dangerous territory.
It's incredibly dangerous, and especially you have the most profit-driven, insane people who are in charge of it.
Well, that's really the problem.
If our lives have become pretty much all but digital, everything is pretty much digital. If this type of AI is already at this stage able to do this, and this is what they're telling us, who knows what they're not telling us that they found, because they know it's going to frighten the population. When it gets in the wrong hands, we're all screwed. Most of us out here on one level or another, your shit is on the dark web. No. Like let's just face it, your social security number, at least one of your credit cards, everybody's shit in America is somewhere on the dark web.
There's no question about that, yeah.
Unless you're Jesse Ventura and live completely off the grid and don't even carry a cell phone.
Does he do
unless
that now?
You're him. Now he's been like that since I've known him for
really
12, 13, 15 years. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and we need to thank
not carry a cell phone.
We need to thank Bring True for rating the TMI stream. So thank you for bringing your audience over. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
I don't know if anyone's ever done that for us before.
That's the first time.
Nice raid in. Thank you. I owe you to a raid back if we can.
Maybe we because we've been nice enough to raid into other needy people. Shows.
Yeah, you pass
people
on
are appreciating us.
Share the love. Yeah, so I'm going to say, unless you're Jesse Ventura, or you decide to live like Jesse Ventura, when this kind of AI, it's already out there. Let's just accept it. We're all going to get hacked, and I don't know what else to do other than to go analog. I mean, your emails are going to get read, your bank accounts are going to get siphoned, unless you're Chase Bank,
like
B of A, or whatever.
Manila, you heard of the story about the alleged hacking of the Minnesota water system, right, by the Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, my first thought was like, you mentioned, well, we can go analog, and it's like, Battlestar Galactica, the reboot. They realize that their enemy can hack into computer systems, so they do everything as analog as they possibly can, given that they're in a spaceship. And I think that's right. I mean, you would have, like, I don't understand, for example, why an important utility like the water people wouldn't say, like, you can't really do work from home. You've got to come in and push the buttons at the water process treatment, at the wastewater treatment plant yourself. Like, you can't do
like
this.
Everything's got to be closed circuit and like
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, think about the Iranians when they got hacked by the U.S.-Israeli Stuxnet virus that fucked up their centrifuges. I was like, why on earth would Iran have, like, allow their nuclear scientists to commute from home? Like, why? Like, given their place in the
work
world
from home
and
Friday,
all the challenges, all the threats they have to deal with the fucking Israelis, why? It'd be like, dude, like, I mean, I know, look, I hate going to the office too, but I think if you have that kind of job, you have to go to the office.
Well, I know. So this is just a peek, a little peekaboo into our future, and it's very bleak. And I remember when earlier in the week when I brought up the Flintstones not being a documentary, somebody in the Rumble chat, I can't remember which Rumbler it was, but they said the Flintstones wasn't a documentary, it was a peek into our dystopian future. And that's not far off, man. If AI controls the whole world, which it will, because we're on that trajectory, we're on like a 5-year plan, I think, for this. I don't know how, wherever you bank, you're banking, you're screwed. Everything is the dark web is gonna be the web. It's just, you're going to see the worst horrific things. You're going to see AI is going to manipulate. Somebody's going to hack into it. AI itself is going to decide for you. And we're just going to live in that world. Like, this is why at first, do you remember when AI started becoming a conversation piece like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago? Elon Musk and I forget the scientist's name he was like one of the granddaddies of AI from Google. He was blowing the whistle and saying, we got to put a stop to this technology.
Oh, don't you remember all the tech bros wrote to Washington and said, we want government regulation here. Yes. We need guidance. This is dangerous. But of course, the good thing is that, like, our Congress is so young, technically savvy, on the stick, really smart when it comes to science and being able to imagine future problems before they develop. They just, like, leapt into action.
Absolutely.
And formed a blue ribbon committee to look into the possibility of thinking about appointing a panel that will look at creating a preliminary report that would appoint people to look at. Anyway, so yeah, nothing happened.
But that's exactly why, we were applauding the fact that Dianne Feinstein, at the time, she was still alive. Although you can't really tell the difference. You can't really tell.
Right.
But she was like one of the chair people of, like, I don't know what it was.
Hilariously, like the tech committee,
the tech committee or something like that. And she was like asking Mark Zuckerberg, and she was like, Mr. Zuckerberg, you run the Facebook.
In fairness, the company was originally called that when he created it at Harvard.
But I know, but it's like she's never seen it before, isn't up to date with it, and
the interwebs.
So as soon as she opened with that, that's when you're like, oh my God, why do you have 85-year-old grannies?
Yeah, we're fucked.
We're like, oh my God, you want to?
I don't understand, like,
us around the internet.
I think it's one thing to be like, okay, they're old. The problem is not that they're old. The problem is that they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they don't know, and they don't know
the topics.
I mean, look, I'm not nearly as old as they were, and if I were in their position, I'd be bringing in, like, top experts who mostly would be a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously.
But they don't. I don't know what they're doing in Congress. But this is dangerous, and be wary. All right, next topic.
Okay. Move over politics. The hottest neighborhood fight in Denver this summer isn't over yard signs. It's about the yards. A severe drought has forced strict water restrictions across the city of Denver, leaving many Denveroids, whatever they're called, with crispy brown lawns. But not everyone got the memo or decided to follow it. Some neighborhoods now look like a checkerboard of golden drought-stricken grass sitting next to suspiciously emerald green front yards. Yeah, if that was my father-in-law, he would have one of those green ones, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. That has turned lawn care into a surprisingly emotional status symbol. Some residents see lush green grass and wonder whether their neighbors are ignoring watering restrictions. Others argue that they've simply invested in better irrigation systems, drought resistance landscaping, or smarter watering schedules that stay within the rules. The result? Side eyes over fences, HOA drama, and neighborhood gossip worthy of a reality show. It's also exposing a bigger cultural divide. For generations, the perfectly manicured green lawn has been the suburban American dream, as seen in King of the Hill. But in a drying West, that dream is colliding with reality as cities that rely on the Colorado River and other suffering bodies of water ask residents to conserve water and think about what a beautiful lawn should look like, which is to say, brown. So anyway, that is a pretty bleak story, but very pertinent anyway. I can't say that in any way, shape, or form I'm surprised by this. People always be wanting to do what they want to do, and they always will. My father-in-law, he lived in Northern California during a period of drought, and I remember my wife at the time, saying that he was really upset because the local municipality had prohibited him from filling his pool. So nobody was allowed in the city that he lived in to fill their pools due to water restrictions, right? So if they would come around and check your water meter and they'd be able to tell. So he came up with an innovative solution. He busted into the fire hydrant on his corner. And in 4 a.m, filled up his pool. He found the special thing that you use there's a special wrench you need in order to open it up. And then he had to buy a fire hose, and he bought the fire hose, and he was like, problem solved. And it's
damn
free.
It, I'm going to have my swimming pool filled.
Yeah. Fuck you all. Yeah. And that's what he was like. And
well, here's the worst part though. I mean, drought, I'm a Californian. I'm used to we've been in drought basically the whole of my adult life. So
because California is a desert.
It is a desert. Denver, there's water. Colorado has been in Colorado River. There's been the river has been drying up for decades. There are native tribes there that have been trying to fight to get their fair share of water rights. So that's one of the issues at play here also. And the worst part, though, about these city dwellers, though, Ted, in Denver, is that the city has put up a rat on your neighbor line.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, if you see something, say something.
Yes. So if your neighbor's yard is green, call us.
Well, I mean, it seems to me like they could just use satellite footage for this, which you can just download on the internet and just get it. But all right, that's how they catch people growing weed out in the woods.
Okay, I've got a note. Ted. Did your ex-father-in-law get away with this?
Yes.
It's awesome.
Well,
yeah, you would have liked his style.
Dude's my hero.
He also when there was a rattlesnake, he didn't call the homeowners association. He got a hoe. I don't mean like a slut, like a congressman. He got and he chopped its head off, fried it up, and ate it.
Hey, rattlesnake's a good meal. Tastes like sausage.
Well, so what do you guys think about cities encouraging neighbors to turn each other in? Like I think that's ultimately toxic.
I do think it's toxic. It could lead to people being shot, And the thing is, false
people
accusations.
People are serious about their lawns.
Yeah, they are. And I got to say, if someone ratted me out, I might shoot them. And like the thing is, it's like, mind your business. And it's like, if the government wants to catch you and they want to hire inspectors to go around and find people, that seems to me like that's fair play. But like, if you're going to be like,
no, you're relying on the citizenry.
Yeah, that's because you're too fucking lazy to do your job.
You're cheap. Yeah, you're too cheap to send your city inspectors out or whatever. Yeah. So you're encouraging. So the article, this longer article, I think I
not to mention solidarity is important among citizens.
I agree, and especially like, hello, unless you plan on moving like tomorrow, you're gonna have to live next to this person for the next 30 years.
Right.
Like, you want to be the asshole?
Droughts come and go, but like neighbors are forever.
Like, yeah, one of you is going to have to move. One of you is going to have to die.
True. Yeah.
So whichever comes first, I don't know. But people are ratting each other out. And that was my takeaway from when I read the longer feature story in the Washington Post, was that you're going to break up whole communities, as if we're not already divided enough because your neighbor's a Republican, you're a Democrat, this person's a libertarian, whatever. I mean, I experience here on my own block. I experienced that here during COVID.
Really? What do you mean? You have to be more, you can't just like drop that bomb and like walk away. You got to tell us what you're talking about.
Yeah. How everyone stopped talking to each other over COVID because, they figured me and my family were a bunch of right-wing nuts because we have guns and didn't want to wear masks. And so now our kids, Trump. Not back then. Okay. So they assumed whatever, even though they've known us well, they stopped talking to us over COVID, and our kids can't play.
I got stink eye on the New York City subway.
We're filthy animals that didn't get
not wearing for not wearing a mask, and this was after the city. I always wore my mask when it was required, but when they, I hated it. I didn't believe that it was necessary or even valuable.
Especially
and the point is,
I
did what I was supposed to do. But like when the subway said it's okay to not wear it, I'm like, oh, that sucker, I'm not wearing it. And the looks that people gave me, and I was like, it's legal now. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. As soon as like the grocery store said masks optional, I didn't wear it. I was like, yay. And went to the grocery
exactly.
store.
Yeah.
My bare face. So I mean, I respected it when the rules were up, and I was like, I just don't want to
follow the law.
Every fucking person.
I don't necessarily agree with the law, but I pay my taxes. I don't want to, but I do.
Right, but I do.
Regarding this thing about the laws, I think I'm probably lawns. I think I'm actually to the left of both of y'all. I think they should be reported, and here's why.
Really,
it is a waste.
You advise ratting out your neighbor?
100%. Here's why.
That's low, man.
Here's why. It's because you are wasting a perishable resource on a weed, which is what grass is. It's completely useless. It's pure vanity.
Even if it is, though, why rat out your neighbor?
Because they are wasting a precious resource that other people downstream of you are not going to be able to have because you're doing this. Also, from a tax perspective, a lot of people do this because they want to have a higher property value on their house so that way they can flip it, and they can sell it and make bank and then go someplace else, like Montana. Anything that will impact the value of property and deprive the municipality of that tax revenue, I say, good on you. If you want to have if you want to live in a desert, then you should have a lawn that represents the ecology of the area in which you live. Instead of having grass, you have cactus. Or you have rocks.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
Like in Phoenix,
but not with
or whatever.
ratting out neighbor. Yeah, in California, in LA, a lot of people have the dry landscape.
I would go full Karen. I would go and around every address. I would turn them in. They are wasting a resource.
You who hates big government
are
what a hypocrite. Now a big brother a Big Brother supporter?
Because they're wasting a resource. Yes.
Wow.
Now I'm at least consistent. I'm like, where I'm from, snitches get stitches.
That's how I roll as a New Yorker too.
It ain't my business.
Mind your business.
Ain't my business. Your lawn is your business. Like, same
and
thing
also,
with
like, honestly,
mask
it's
you wear
so
is up to
it's
you.
like
You want the vaccine, it's up to you.
The municipality can easily just go on the internet and buy some cheap satellite photos of like their own town, and just like from the leisure of City Hall, like just be like, well, look at Bobby and his green lawn. Let's go over there and pay him a visit.
Right, it would be easy to spot, but there you go.
Well, it's the easiest thing in the world.
We got to thank some of our donors. Got there. I got there.
Donators.
Donators.
Oh, that's the cops. Sorry.
No, those are donut whores. I said donators. Manchild says, are y'all aware of the movement to, quote, poison the well for AI? I don't know what that is.
Let's hear.
Poison the well. Like,
oh, no, I am aware, actually. But let's.
What is that?
So basically the idea is that because it's training on our shit, we would feed all sorts of stuff to train AI on.
Oh, like ridiculous ass shit?
That's a lie. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, like President Elmo and Secretary of State Cookie Monster said.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. No, I got to look into that. That's pretty funny. And Sir Bikes a Lot. Sir Bikes a Lot, we haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining us and for the donation. Sir Bikes a Lot says, in San Antonio, Texas, we've been ratting everyone out since 1995 or so. The same water source also feeds our spring-fed swimming holes. That's why we all tattletale on our neighbors. In San Antonio? You guys are all snitches?
And I can't believe Texans would be snitches.
Right.
Texans who are like very independent minded and skeptical of government.
Yeah. It's because also, people.
Wow.
You got to be a good steward of the resources that you have. Now, Ted, in your communist utopia, so if your communist overlords said, okay, you cannot waste water like this because it's impacting people who grow food, agriculture, things like that.
I understand why. Yeah, I understand.
So how would your perfect communist regime handle somebody that says, fuck you, I'm going to do whatever I want? Well, I don't imagine
we would send them to a re-education camp, obviously. And
that means you need someone to rat them out.
That's why you have in a totalitarian country like China, you have party cadres who are often like 17-year-old girls, and basically with shrill voices, and they go around and they're little busybodies, and you pay. There's a rat out thing here in New York City where there's an anti-idling law. You're not allowed to idle your vehicle for more than a minute, and there's some exceptions like armored cars and stuff like that. But basically, trucks are not allowed to idle for more than a minute. And so if there's a website where you can upload videos from your cell phone of someone and showing their license plate, showing them idling for more than that amount of time. And if it goes, and then like if the city then charges them and they're found guilty, you get a bounty.
Oh my God! So
also, I don't know if you know this part you might love, Robbie. So if you find out that, say, a rich person or a corporation isn't paying their fair share of taxes, the IRS has a reporting mechanism by which you can rat them out also. And if they're found guilty, and let's say, and this could be a lot of money, you get I think it's like 10% or something.
It's a finder's fee?
It's a finder's fee. So let's say someone owes, some company, like your boss owes $200 million in taxes. You might never have to work the rest of your life.
My old landlord. I mean, no, listen.
You're saying it pays to snitch?
It does.
I mean, my old landlord.
Bigly.
One of the reasons I think that probably I'm coming across the way that I am is because she owns multiple properties, and she's just always water the lawn, keep it green, because she wanted the property values. And then she just turns right around and just jacks the rent up by 35%. It's just like, okay, well, screw you. So in addition to wasting money on a water bill to keep your grass green, you're then going to do this. So there could be a small measure of revenge against people who are like that. In the situation. But honestly, though, I think really what it just comes down to is the fact that, especially in the American West, it's dry. It's a plain or it's a desert. If you want to live there, then you have to live there. You have to live there in an ecologically sound way that doesn't waste the one resource that they don't have, which by definition is water. If you want to have a green lawn, move to Massachusetts.
Although, frankly, there's a drought in Massachusetts right now. So.
I read there's a drought in 46 states now, drought level.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It really hardly rains in New York, too. So, yeah.
Anymore? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's move on. It's Fun Friday. There's a couple fun topics in there.
All right.
Here's
and
the
I've got DMZ in 9 minutes, just remember.
Oh, dating red flag. Meet the so-called performative male, which I'm going to say up front, Ted, I don't know how Gen Z, this is an actual article from WAPO. They wrote a whole fucking feature article that took like 10 minutes to read. And at the end, I was like, what? How is this different?
Yeah, so it was one of those, like, what was that articles?
Like, what is this?
Like, what just happened? I don't understand.
But this is written by Gen Z. So it says, move over toxic masculinity. Social media says there's a new guy to watch out for. The performative male. And no, it's not about his acting on stage. The term describes men who adopt a carefully curated, soft, progressive image, not because it's authentic, critics say, but because they believe it makes them more attractive to women. Think matcha lattes, tote bags, vinyl records, feminist
Easy
literature.
There on those vinyl records. Okay.
Indie music, skincare routines.
Easy on the indie music.
Therapy speak, and wired headphones, all worn like a costume rather than a personality. The trend has become so widespread that Seattle recently held a tongue-in-cheek performative male contest where contestants competed to embody the stereotype. The joke, however, points to a bigger conversation. Young women on social media say they've become skeptical of men who seem almost too perfect, because that was their idea of perfect, what I just rattled off there. Like dudes that drink like matcha lattes, carry tote bags, they read feminist literature, guys that wear shirts that say like the future is female, shit like that.
Oh God. Like no, any man who wears that shirt should be sent far away.
Lose his man card, be castrated.
Well, their man card has already been lost, yeah.
So, this is what the young women are saying, that they're calling that if a man looks too perfect. This is what Gen Z thinks is perfect. Okay. The concern isn't that a man drinks matcha lattes or reads Jane Austen. It's whether those interests are genuine. That's what they're concerned about. They're concerned about whether, this is dating now for Gen Z, or simply part of a carefully constructed brand designed to signal, I'm one of the good guys. Of course, the criticism cuts both ways. Some argue the trend is unfairly stereotyping men who genuinely enjoy those hobbies. Others say social media has turned dating itself into a performance where everyone is optimizing their image for likes, matches, and approval. Every generation has its dating archetypes, but the performative male may be Gen Z's latest, but the underlying question is timeless. Are we getting to know real people, or just the versions they've carefully designed for public consumption? I'm with the latter. Like we talked about Three's Company in the Rumble chat the other day. If you think of Larry, right, the neighbor Larry was always the sleazebag dating a new girl on every episode, right? There's a new chick all the time, sometimes multiple chicks on the one episode. But sometimes, he and Jack Tripper did too. They would I remember Jack Tripper playing up like he's a Western, cowboy type guy. There was another episode, Larry pretends he's not a car salesman, that he's this or that or whatever. It's been a trope in dating forever. And for you single ladies, it's not a Gen Z problem. Gen Z, like the girls may be concerned that, I want him to read Jane Austen and like matcha green lattes. Fine, whatever. Every generation has the type of man that they like. But this is not news. Men will always try to get in your pants. Why do you not understand that? Like, is this news to Gen Z? It's like the guy that you think is the perfect man with his man bun and his green lattes or whatever. Those guys can be rapey too. It's not just like
true.
toxic
and by
masculinity.
The way, this is a revival of, I don't know if you remember the snag from the 80s, the sensitive new age guy, which was like basically men, kind of modeled on Alan Alda.
Yes, I love Alan Alda.
And like basically, first of all, I don't really think it works. I mean, Manila, I know you and I have talked about and are familiar with these studies that repeatedly show that that couples have more successful marriages and relationships when they have traditional gender roles. So like, when the guy takes out the trash and maybe cleans the dishes, but the wife cooks. The dude cleans, does more of the house repairs, cuts the lawn and stuff like that. That's, I think, the truth is, in my experience, for whatever it's worth, I have not found that being like, all that Mr. Sensitive does is it gets you into the friend zone. It does not get you into the vag zone. And so, like, if you want to,
I don't know, Gen Z might like this, Ted. That's like
Gen Z's not having any sex, so therefore,
that's true too.
I think that this is proven right. I mean, sexuality hasn't changed, even though like Gen Z is fucking up that way. So I think it is funny that there's always like dudes trying to work these grifts, because there's like I had a friend who. He was always like, he'd always have some scheme. He'd be like, I remember one time he's like, Ted, there's one line. And like, if you say this one line, you're always in. I'm like, dude, there is no one line that means you're always in.
No.
If there were, whoever invented that one line would be worth billions of dollars. There just isn't. Every situation, every person, every moment is unique.
Of course.
And, I think women want to be desired first and foremost. That's the main thing. They want to feel like you really want them. And then also you've got authenticity. Like you're not full of shit. Like, and like, basically own your shit and be yourself. Now there are dudes who like Jane Austen and like nothing wrong with that at all.
And sometimes a matcha latte is yummy. I get it.
That's not true. But yeah, the rest of it's true. It tastes like
dirt.
It tastes like licking your car tires after a rainy day. Yeah. But whatever. I mean, it's like if you like that shit, whatever. There's something wrong with your taste buds. You probably do need to go seek some medical attention.
We got to do. Speaking of medical attention, thank you, Peter, for the donation. Peter says all the women admire my painted toenails. Is it performative or genuine?
If you paint your toenails,
if you like it.
If you paint your toenails for yourself, which a lot of guys do, and I don't really understand, but they do, then that's for you, and you do you.
We got to quickly explain this last topic, and
we don't have time. We have like 90 seconds. There is no way, and I like this topic, so can we save it for the weekend? I want to punt to Monday because we got DMZ coming out hard out.
Okay. So there was the thumbnail.
And I do want to talk.
Thumbnail.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We could change the thumbnail, but like we could do it. But by the way, your thumbnails are really great, and I've been meaning to mention that to you, and I've been remiss. I keep thinking it. I have this bad habit as a guy of thinking nice things about people and friends and not saying.
Never voicing it.
Yeah. Like inside, I'm like, Manila does great thumbnails. And then it's like, and then I just never tell you.
I'm learning how to use technology. I'm learning how to utilize technology. And that is something I'm going to say to you and to a lot of men. If you guys are thinking it or thinking about someone, since we're on this dating topic and we'll punt the cadaver fat thing, like there's a lot to say about plastic surgery. But if you guys are thinking something or thinking about someone, just text them, say it. Chat to them, or like Ted, just say it to me. You're on air with me every day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, thank you. But because like that's how you live in the moment, and you show that you're present, and that is something women do like.
So
women like that
in the moment. I have to say this show needs to be over because we're raiding over to DMZ. So
we're raiding.
Yeah.
We'd be raiding. All right, Robbie, everything look good for the raid. We are raiding over to DMZ. Everyone say
it's
hello.
It's 11 o'clock.
Santis.
Bye.
Adios, amigos. Thank you. Bye.